All right, everyone. So we're going to be taking a look at this information that we got from this website, Avatar News, about what the 3 animated Avatar movies that are going to be coming in the future and what they are supposedly going to be about. Now, of course, before we get into this, full credit goes to Avatar News for bringing us this information. Make sure you head on over to Twitter and follow them to be updated on anything Avatar, whether it's the live action Netflix TV show or anything animated, which I'm sure is probably what the fandom is mostly interested in, as opposed to anything live action. So according to this article that they posted, it says right here, you might be aware that there's been a flurry of Avatar Studios news out of the 2022 Annecy International Animation Film Festival in the last few days. They revealed that 3 movies are actively in the works right now. They confirmed my report on the director of the first movie, and they showed the first teaser for it to the press in attendance. So apparently they already made a report about who the director for the first movie is going to be about, and then Nickelodeon and Paramount came out and confirmed that that is going to be the director of the first movie. So apparently they do have legit sources giving them information. Let's tackle that teaser first. After checking with a couple of sources who were in attendance, we're pretty sure that what was shown was General Fong's fortress, which was first visited by Aang in Avatar The Last Airbender Book 2 Earth Chapter 1, The Avatar State. And this is a screenshot from the actual episode. This isn't, I'm guessing this wasn't what was actually shown in the film festival. This is a screen capture from the actual episode itself. It says right here, it was either this exact clip or screen caps from the original or something very similar. That visual was followed by text saying the Avatar returns and the earthbending symbol, which brings us to the first animated movie coming from Avatar Studios is the prequel I reported on before. And it's a prequel because it stars the most recent Earth Avatar before Aang and Korra, Avatar Kyoshi. So apparently, according to them, because of that, because they said the Avatar returns and then showed the earthbending symbol, they believe it coincides with the report that they made about the fact that there's going to be a prequel movie starring Kyoshi. Now, that could be the case, although personally, and maybe this is just me kind of hoping, that it's actually going to be the Avatar after Korra, because of course you had Aang, Korra, air, water. The next one would of course be Earth. At least that's my hope, because I kind of want them to move forward in the future as opposed to just going back in the past. And yeah, I know there's going to be maybe not all that interesting because of the events of Avatar, because of the events of the Korra series and some of the decisions that were made by the writers, which still leave me confused to this day. But I guess that's just my hope, although maybe it is what they reported on before, where it is going to be an Avatar Kyoshi movie. And it would make sense because Avatar Kyoshi does have fans. Me personally, I couldn't care less, but she does have her fans, so making a movie starring her would of course make a lot of sense. And I don't know if it's going to be an adaptation of the Kyoshi novels, or maybe it's a completely new story that they have centered around her, which I think a lot of people would also really appreciate. Next, I can confirm that the second movie will be the one I exclusively revealed last month, a story focused on Fire Lord Zuko. I mean, this to me is just a no-brainer considering how popular the character is. Of course, they're going to make a movie about him. I mean, that's just, again, that just makes perfect sense. Lastly, and this is a brand new reveal, the third movie is set in the era of Avatar Korra after the end of the animated series. I should note that these are all very high-level descriptions. For example, I don't know the exact focus of the Korra era movie, although I'd personally be willing to bet it will be Korra herself, but ultimately I guess I should put a disclaimer that I don't know that level of detail, except for the specific case of the Zuko movie being about Zuko himself. Technically, I don't know that the Kyoshi movie will star her, but I can't really imagine it won't. So, well, I mean, here's the thing. Of course, it would make the most sense to make a movie where Kyoshi is a star, but they could also make a movie where it's set during that time, but it doesn't really revolve around her. And that could be good because it would be a movie that could expand the world. You know what I mean? And remember, that is one thing that a lot of people really did love about the series is the world building. It wasn't just, following the characters. A lot of people loved episodes where they actually expanded on the history of this universe. I mean, that's, I think, some of the people in the fandom's favorite episodes. For me personally, the Avatar and the Fire Lord is honestly still to this day, in my opinion, one of the best episodes in the entire series. I absolutely love that episode, and it was all about building, or explaining to you the history of the Avatar before Aang and how they got to where they are now. Just absolutely fantastic episode. Still, in my opinion, one of the best written episodes of the entire series. So let's go ahead and continue. Now, here is where they talk about the release dates and how they mention that, they're not really all that sure, but they do tell you here in this article that, it says right here, release dates could shift around as they almost always do in this day and age, but it's just because that's a natural thing that happens. So with all that being said, you can very vaguely look forward to animated Avatar movies coming to theaters once a year starting in 2024, with the first three being, of course, Kyoshi, Zuko, and then Korra. So basically what they're trying to say is that, even though they did get information that these might be the actual release dates, they do tell you to keep in mind that plans can change and that maybe it's not going to be in 2024, 2025 and 2026. So like something could happen and in the development where it causes them to delay the movie, and instead of 2024, the Kyoshi movie is going to be released in 2025 and the Zuko movie may be released in 2026, and then Korra may be going to be released sometime even later after that. Again, now, I'm not saying that is what's going to happen, but that could very likely happen is what I'm trying to say, because plans always change, and you should just keep that in mind, just when you're looking at these release dates. So that's all it is that they're saying. And they're saying right here, this next part is my estimate. I would personally expect late 2024 for the first one. Again, it's super early. As for the rest, again, big grain of salt. As production goes on, maybe they'll decide they want to do every 2 years instead, or any number of things that could lead to the slate changing. There you go. And they even put another disclaimer right here. It's important to understand that this is just a snapshot of Avatar Studios' current plans. They're not announced, not confirmed plans. I wouldn't announce or confirm anything this early either, and there's a good reason they aren't. They haven't even revealed their first ever movie yet, much less committing to a slate, so please keep all that context in mind. Don't expect them to reveal anything about any Korra movie anytime soon. There are 2 movies before that probably won't even reveal anything anytime soon. That being said, this is legit info and not just speculation or guessing, and it also might not change. I think release dates are honestly highly likely to change, but I don't think it would be unlikely if the first 3 high-level concepts of Kyoshi, Zuko, and Korra stay the same, assuming my sources are correct about those in the first place. So there you go. That's the information that we got. Now, for me personally, I said it here, a Zuko movie is a no-brainer considering how popular the character is. And when it comes to the Kyoshi movie, I mean, they said it themselves, it is going to be set in the era of Avatar Kyoshi. Again, I don't know if it's going to be an adaptation of the novels. I'm sure a lot of people would prefer that because a lot of people really love those books. I haven't read them yet, but I will. Don't worry, I will read them. But I heard a lot of people really love them, and I mean, so making a movie that is an adaptation of that would, of course, make a lot of sense since they already know that a lot of people love the book. So an adaptation of that would go over well with the fandom. Although maybe it's going to be a completely new story, which is kind of what I would hope. Just write a completely new story that everyone can enjoy, and you won't have to have read the books to maybe get some context, because when you do an adaptation, some things have to be left out, and if you haven't read the book, sometimes you're not going to catch everything that is there on screen. So for me personally, I would kind of hope that they make a new story for people who haven't read the book, because again, like I said, I will read the books, don't worry. And as opposed to the Korra movie, I mean, look, Korra does have a lot of fans. I know a lot of people are not big on the Korra character. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of her. I'm sorry, just being honest. Personally, not a fan of the character. I thought her show was just nowhere near as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender. Seasons 3 and 4, I thought were okay. I mean, by okay, I mean they were better than seasons 1 and 2, which I thought were legitimately terrible. But yeah, so I guess they're okay in comparison, but overall, I just think the Korra series just has a lot of problems, and they didn't really have, really interesting characters, especially some of the new characters like Korra, what's his name? The pretty boy, Mako. Bolin, I guess, was kind of okay. What was her name? Asami. She was also really interesting, but Korra and Mako were just boring. I didn't care about them at all. I wanted the show to focus more on Bolin and Asami because I thought they were actually interesting. And then of course you did have Tenzin, and I did like him and his whole story with his family and trying to resolve his whole thing about being living up to his father's expectations. I did like what they did there, but as opposed to everything else, I just wasn't really a big fan of it. But let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section down below. What do you think of this news? Are you excited, or Do you think that, like I said, it's going to be set in the Kyoshi era, and that is going to be a new story, not an adaptation? Or who knows, maybe you think it's going to be a movie set in that time, but it's not going to be starring Kyoshi herself? Or do you think it will be an adaptation of the novel? And what do you think about a Korra movie? If you are a fan of Korra, of course, please let me know how excited you are in the comment section down below. And while you're here, please consider leaving a like, sharing this video, subscribe if you haven't, make sure to hit the bell for notifications, and I hope I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.